Good evening, everybody. This is the Aspen City Council special meeting for March 14th, 2022. That'll be a call to order. Could we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Councilor Doyle? Here. Councilor Howenstein?
Here.
Councilor Mesro?
Present.
Councilor Richards?
Here.
Mayor Tory?
Here. We are considering one action item this evening, and I think Jim True is going to introduce it for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is James R. True. I'm the city attorney. Before you tonight is Ordinance 6, Series of 2022. As brief background, as you know, the District Court for the District of Colorado, in the case of the Aspen Board of Realtors versus City of Aspen, issued a preliminary injunction on the enforcement of Ordinance 27. The decision was based on the procedural issue of notice provided for the first hearing adopting Ordinance 27 on December 7th, 2021. Based on this order, the staff is recommending the council consider Ordinance number 6, which essentially is the readoption of Ordinance 27. And Ordinance 6 is series of 2022, but essentially readopts the Ordinance 27 series of 2021. We have addressed the procedural issues upon which the court based its decision. The court did find that did rule in the city's favor regarding some of the issues, particularly the substantive issues regarding the enactment of an emergency ordinance under Ordinance 27. Ordinance 6, Series of 2022, reiterates the provisions set forth in Ordinance 27, consistent with the court's order, and we suggest adoption of Ordinance 6 here at first consideration. We have noticed and are prepared for a second meeting, as our charter, section 4.11, requires passage of emergency ordinances at 2 meetings. The second one will be tomorrow in these chambers at noon. That has been, the notice of that meeting has also been prepared and submitted, and it is online. I would note one change in Ordinance 6 between different than Ordinance 27. That involves a section within Ordinance 27 that address vacation rental permits. The Ordinance 26 series of 2021 actually addressed vacation rental permits, and we saw no need for that to be carried over into this Ordinance 6. Vacation rental permits are addressed completely in Ordinance 26. And just to refresh everyone's recollection that as of January 15th, 2022, no new 2022 vacation rental permits are to be issued. If you had a vacation rental permit for 2021 as of December 8th, you're allowed to operate under that permit through September 30th, 2022. So if there are any questions, I'm going
to request we not take questions right now. We have some WebEx audio issues. I want to be sure the public can hear any of the electeds' comments.
Am I going to have to repeat all that?
Yeah, it sounds like we lost you about 3 minutes ago.
Okay. So should we wait? Is that your recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cue game show music.
You do not want me to sing.
That's exactly what I had in my head. Yeah. That's right.
We'll just ask Carolyn Zachariason to repeat what I said.
Stenographer?
Oh, she'll play the recording.
Oh, that's so great.
Sorry.
Megan's over there like, oh, record.
What?
Got something going on.
AVX is trying to fix this. It's something they said they need to do. So, you can hear on with it.
Megan, Landeskog's out with knee surgery. 2 nights ago, I think. I'd do it.
Members of council, just to let you know, we have our vendor on site today, so we have them in the software behind the scenes working on this right now.
Yeah, we'll get together.
My field test.
Can't wait for the days to get a little longer and warmer.
Oh, I didn't realize you're in like the Steve Jobs today. The black turtleneck. I like it. Yeah. You could work on this tech issue.
I'm gonna start talking in deeper voice too.
That's fine.
Yep. Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2. More? 1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all good? Okay.
All right, we have confirmation from outside of chambers as well that the audio feed is working on WebEx.
All right. All right, I think our audio is remedied, so let's start over. Jim, if you would,
I'm going to try
Repeat your
to not
opening
start
statements.
over, but I will give a brief recitation, I hope, that covers everything. Before you is Ordinance 6, Series of 2022. This is in response to a court order that found a procedural defect in the adoption of Ordinance 27. Series of 2021, Ordinance 6, 2022, substantially reiterates the substance of Ordinance 27, substance of which was upheld at this preliminary stage by the court. We are requesting that the council adopt this at today's meeting. It is still being presented as an emergency ordinance and will require two adoption, one today, and we have noticed a meeting tomorrow at noon in these chambers for the second adoption. Again, Ordinance 6 substantially repeats the terms of Ordinance 27 with the exception of the vacation rental permit. Ordinance 27 did have a restriction on issuance of vacation rental permits for the period of January 1st through January 15th, 2022. However, Ordinance 26, which was adopted by council, terminated all new 2022 permits as of January 15th, 2022. If you had a vacation rental permit as of December 8th, 2021, you're allowed to operate pursuant to that permit through September 30th, 2022. Ordinance 6 does not address vacation rental permits as the Ordinance 26 does, and the court recognized that Ordinance 26 is still valid. So I'm happy to take any questions. I know if people are just tuning in, they may not have heard my first recitation, which was more thorough, but that's quick and easy.
Yeah, could you please confirm for the public and the council that this meeting was noticed at least 24 hours in advance and was posted in the places that ordinance requires it to be posted?
I can confirm that this meeting was noticed 24 hours in advance, was posted on the website. In fact, it was also posted on the door to the third floor in written form. And the meeting tomorrow at noon was properly noticed and called for 24 hours in advance of the noon meeting tomorrow. So I can confirm that.
Thank you.
other council questions at this time?
I would note that this isn't this similar process, but it might be appropriate here to do a motion to read ordinance 6. And then this is not a public hearing. Nonetheless, special meetings do allow for public comment. So after the reading, I would suggest that you open the floor to public comment. So
I move we read ordinance 6, series 2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote for reading of ordinance 6, please?
Counselor Doyle,
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein,
Yes.
Counselor Mesro,
Yes.
Counselor Richards,
Yes.
Mayor Tory.
Yes.
This is ordinance number 6, series of 2022, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Aspen, Colorado, imposing a temporary moratorium on the acceptance of any new land use application seeking a development order or notice of approval, and on the acceptance of certain building permit applications for all residential units in all zone districts within the city, and declaring an emergency.
I would correct one statement. It's residential uses. I believe you may have
Uses.
said units.
Yep.
Uses.
Thank you. Why don't we take public comment, if there is any, before we go ahead and vote for the actual ordinance? So at this time, I'll go ahead and open it for public comment. We'll start with in-room. If there's any members of the public that are here with us today that want to make public comment today, come on up.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
You just make sure that your microphone light is on green,
It is.
And you speak directly into it.
and introduce yourself for the record, please.
I'm Bill Guth. I live on 8th Street. Thank you for taking public comment tonight.
Thanks,
This
Bill.
afternoon, I should say.
Bill, we will probably limit it to about 3 minutes, but you
I
have
will do
plenty
my
of time.
best.
Thanks.
As many of you know, myself and Bob Bowden have been working on a citizens-initiated ordinance asking you to consider repeal of Ordinance 27. To date, we've collected over 900 signatures of Aspen electors. These are just a few of the petition books that have been circulated around the community. We were ready to turn those in this week to you for consideration. I want you to know that. We've worked really, really hard on that effort. And almost, I think it's about 35%, if my math is right, of the people who voted in the last election are telling you this is a bad idea and have asked you to repeal Ordinance 27. I think the same statement and the same theory applies to what's being considered today. A couple other notes. I have participated in the pop-up sessions and the focus groups on development of new policy for that's supposed to be happening during the moratorium. And I have to tell you, I am tremendously disappointed. We are more than halfway through the moratorium. There is zero policy that's being proposed for consideration, for feedback from the public. There are pretty rudimentary fact-finding sessions going on, and that's about it. Stuff that does not need to be done during a moratorium, and it's really disappointing. I mean, I'm taking the time, others are taking the time out of their schedules to help the city during this moratorium, which we don't believe in, and you guys, at least what's being presented to the public is not progress, not even close to progress. The behaviors of council here in not listening to the community, or many members of the community, is really starting to erode our faith in this government and the 5 of you that are sitting there tonight, and in the staff. It does not feel like many people in this community are being listened to, are being heard, and damage is being done to our livelihoods and our community by this action. It really is. And I'm pleading with you not to make this mistake twice. I think we got it wrong the first time. I think the goal is okay, and there are serious issues in our community that need addressing. And there are people with great ideas on how to address those issues. But the approach is so wrong here. It is so, so, so wrong. I'm asking you, please don't make this mistake twice. Collaborate with the community, cooperate with the community. Don't alienate the community, don't harm the community. Let's work on this together. Let's work on our issues together. Don't make enemies of everybody. Please don't get this wrong twice.
Thanks,
you.
Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Other members of the public that are in room this evening that wish to comment tonight, we will be taking public comment tomorrow evening. So I'll look on WebEx. For members that are joining us on WebEx, you can unmute yourself. If you're on a phone line, that is done by *6. If you are on a computer, you should have the ability to unmute. Another call for those that are on WebEx for public comment this evening.
Hi, it's Kim Raymond. Could I make a comment?
There you go. Yes. Hi, Kim. Thank you.
Hey, Cam.
Hi, I thought you were I didn't know I was supposed to start talking. I didn't want to interrupt, but thank you for having another special meeting and letting us have a conversation with you. We truly appreciate it. I would just like to elaborate a little bit more on what Bill Guth said. The community's really coming together, working hard on trying to work with the council, and we all realize there are some serious issues that need to be addressed. I've been doing a lot of work and research in the Aspen Area Community Plan and the Aspen Charter, and I realized that some of the goals that you have outlined here in the moratorium are things that are prescribed for you to be working on, but they've been prescribed for a very long time, since the last Aspen Area Community Plan was written in 2012. So what I would like to know is, like, what's the agenda? What are the 3 big goals that you have figured out that you can then reverse engineer to have actionable items to do? Like Bill said, he and I are both, and others are in the community, are trying very hard to participate and help the council. We're part of this community and we want to see the right solutions. So I agree with Bill that a moratorium isn't like the best way to accomplish this, but an open, transparent relationship with the citizens that are trying hard to support you in these important goals. So I would ask that you would also not reenact this moratorium, but do more of an outreach and have us help you reach these goals that you're trying to accomplish. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Another call for members of the public that are joining us by WebEx that wish to comment this evening. Go ahead and unmute yourself and introduce yourself for the record. And one last call for members that are joining us on WebEx. All right, not seeing any, I'll bring it back to council table. Council members, questions, comments at this time? Sen, Rachel?
Just, I'd like to ask Jim True if you could explain for us and the public what would be the result of passing this on first reading this evening?
Well, under section 4.11 of the charter, an emergency ordinance requires a passage, and that's the word it's used, passage at 2 meetings. So this is the first one. It's not like our normal ordinance procedures where there's a first and second reading. This is the first passage. It's required by ordinance. Tomorrow we properly noticed and called a special meeting at noon for second consideration, which would be the second passage. If that is adopted tomorrow, if it's adopted today and then adopted tomorrow, it will become effective immediately upon that second passage tomorrow at noon, if that is the vote and will of the council. And then the provisions, as noted in the title of the ordinance, that puts a temporary moratorium on acceptance of new land use applications and certain building permit applications would be in effect as soon as that second passage occurs, if it is to occur.
Thank you.
I have a question, Jim. The passage, or the court ruling, does that invalidate ordinance 27?
It puts a preliminary injunction on the enforcement of ordinance 27. There's a slight difference in your statement about invalidating. There is a declaratory judgment hearing and a permanent injunction hearing that would be coming up in the future. But what the court did do is place a preliminary injunction that requires the enforcement of ordinance 27 and the implementation of it. And that is one of the reasons why we're correcting the procedural defect and adopting ordinance 6.
So where does this leave us in relation to ordinance 27? Ordinance 27 had the STR provisions. Ordinance 26 does not. Does 26, passage of 26,
Six.
how does,
6.
I'm sorry, 6, ordinance 6. What effect does that have on 27 of 2021?
Well, 27, again, enforcement is stayed by the court, preliminary injunction. Ordinance 6 would reinstitute the moratorium on the land use application and the building permits. The short-term rentals, the vacation rental permits, is addressed in ordinance 26 and is not affected by the ruling of the court or ordinance 6 either. It is in place. It was adopted on December 14th, and it became effective January 14th, and it meant no new 2022 vacation rental permits would be issued after January 15th. So that's all passed. So again, if you have a 2021 vacation rental permit as of December 8th, you can operate until September 30th, 2022, but no new vacation rental permits are being issued under ordinance 26. Is that clarifying it?
Well, it sounds like ordinance 6 leaves, just duplicates the 27, I'm sorry, of 2021. And ordinance 6 of 2022 replicate each other with the exemption of the STRs and ordinance 6, 2022.
Correct, but ordinance 6 will be effective upon passage tomorrow. So to the extent that the judge issued her preliminary injunction as of tomorrow, if you pass it, ordinance 6 would be effective and that would be controlling.
So does, I'm just trying to, we'd have ordinance 27, 2021, and ordinance 6 of 2022 that will state the same things really as it relates to temporary pause on issuance of land use and building permits. I want clarification on what happens with 27.
Well, 27 is stayed by the judge's orders. The preliminary injunction, in essence, stays any enforcement of that. And so ordinance 27 becomes unenforceable under her ruling because of the procedural defects. We were correcting the procedural defects, so ordinance 6 will become effective and will be applicable as soon as it becomes effective if council votes in favor of it. It is confusing, and I understand that, but I guess the best way to say it is that ordinance 6 corrects the procedural defects that were a defect that was found by the court, but it becomes effective tomorrow. I recognize there are overlaps, but ordinance 6 becomes effective tomorrow without the procedural defect that she found before.
And I understand the ruling and the procedural defect. Would it be appropriate for us to repeal ordinance 27, 2021?
I do not recommend that. I think, again, we do not, although I understand the judge's order and of course respect the judge's order, I do not agree with her determination. And there is under the process further hearings that will occur on that, on the validity of ordinance 27. I do not recommend that you repeal it.
Okay. And for the public record, my reasons for supporting ordinance 6, 2022 are the same reasons I stated on December 7th and December 8th, 2021 in support of ordinance 27.
Thanks, Ward. We have a hand up from somebody. Ms. Flynn, we did have an open comment period just a little bit ago. There will be another opportunity for you to comment tomorrow if this is to pass today. So please join us tomorrow if this is going to be moved forward to tomorrow for your comments. Any other comments or questions from this end of the table? None. Okay. I would.
Yeah, I will be brief as well, and thank you for asking your questions, Ward. It is my belief that the work necessary to accomplish code revisions sufficient to bring our code in greater alignment with the Aspen Area Community Plan and the elements of service and infrastructure, of human infrastructure needed to support a resort need to be realigned. I will support this going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. I'll make a few comments here. Again, I believe in the judge's ruling on supporting the moratorium in its emergency nature. I did not agree with the judge's ruling. And again, as Jim well said, we'll respect it, but I found the language not to lend itself to a defect in process here. I as well will support ordinance number 6 this evening in order to get it to second reading tomorrow. I think that, as Rachel just eloquently said, this is important for us to get this right for everybody, for both sides, or all sides, to be honest with you. There's more than just two. So I am supportive of this evening, and we will have further discussion about it tomorrow.
I would make a motion to approve ordinance number 6, series of 2022 on first reading.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote for ordinance number 6 on first reading, please?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Mesro?
Yes.
Counselor Richards?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes.
Would you accept a motion to end the special meeting?
Yes, pretty soon. I just want to note that the meeting is scheduled tomorrow for 12 noon. And again, it'll be an opportunity for the public to attend and to make comment if they like.
Okay. And we had no other business for a special meeting?
Correct.
I would make a motion to end the special meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Any further comments? Could we have a roll call vote for adjournment, please?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Mesro?
Yes.
Counselor Richards?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes. All right. We will commence with our work session in just a few minutes as we get some technical things changed over. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I believe we end this web